Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. I'm Mark, and today we're going to be cleaning our dirt bike. Today is kind of strange because it's December 26th and the high temperature day is supposed to be in the 60s. So I figured I'd take this opportunity to clean the bike outside instead of in the garage, which I normally do because it's so cold. Okay guys, I want to go over some of the products that we use to clean our motorcycle. We use Zep degreaser, and this is great for spraying on the parts of the bike where the chain lube has flung and has stuck to the frame. We're going to spray that on some of the heavy spots and let it sit for a while. We also like to use a wash and wax when we wash all the plastic and the parts of the bike. It will put a layer of wax on it to keep corrosion down. I know this is kind of crazy, and this is just me. I like to clean the wheels with white wall cleaner. It actually cuts through the dirt a little bit better, and it makes the rubber really clean. This is just me. It's probably not necessary, but yeah, I like to get a little crazy sometimes. We also use Maxima chain cleaner. This stuff works really good. It also is good for doing some of the parts on the bike that have heavy grease on it, but mostly I try and keep it on the chain since it cuts really it cuts deep, so I don't want it on the paint too much. And of course we use Simple Green just because I had a bottle of it and we can use it for this and that. I also have my bucket of water and because it's wintertime, I filled it full of hot water, so at least it'll keep me warm for a little while. We got our chain brush and our regular brush. Now I use the larger brush on the seat and on the hard to get places so my knuckles don't bleed after we're done. Of course, gloves. I usually don't wear gloves, but it's so cold out here. Still in the 40s. I'm going to use those so my hands don't turn red. And we are going to use our electric power washer. Now this one I think is rated at 1600 psi. It's not too powerful, and I will keep it away from the important parts, the bearings, the places where you don't want to drive dirt into. But this is what we use for the most part. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is drop the skid plate. That allows me to get all the dirt and mud between the skid plate and the engine out. I will also start to lightly spray the bike off just to rehydrate all the dirt. It is easier to power wash mud off a bike than it is encrusted dirt. Then I will apply the chain cleaner and spray some degreaser around the rims and wheels. And then I'll go to work on the tires. I like to clean the tires with white wall cleaner because it takes the mud off quickly, and I don't like to have my tires full of mud and dirt when I store them for the winter, especially when I move them around and as I take them apart. I don't want the mud tracking in the garage, so I will spend a little bit of extra time cleaning the tires and cleaning the mud off the tires. They're not 100% clean, but they are clean enough to not drop any dirt and mud on the garage floor. All right, a little bit more chain cleaner, and I will go over all of the areas with the chain brush. This chain is a bit old, so getting it 100% clean is probably not going to happen, but most of the dirt is going to be removed. Probably going to end up getting a new chain for this bike at some point. And then we'll power wash it and get as much dirt out as we can. Then some more degreaser, and then we spray down with Simple Green. That will loosen up some more dirt. We'll take the brush and start with the seat because it's textured, gets into the grooves a little bit better, and it's also great for the handlebars, the levers. It's hard to wash handlebars with a towel, so the brush works very well. And again, power washing it in between. Each time I do that, it turns the dirt into mud and it comes off. Basically, just got to keep doing that again and again. Then I'll take the rag, I'll get in between all of the crevices. This cleans them even more. Do the front forks real well. And getting the rims and the bike. Basically just keep going over and over it again as much as we possibly can. My neighbor's walking by asking me Why am I doing this in the wintertime? Because it's fun. I also try and keep the road clean. I'll power wash the road in between washes just to make sure I keep everything clean. And then I'll get to work on the other side of the engine. I'll turn the bike around here. I will do the exhaust. I will do the hoses. I will get that rag into as many places as I can. And I'll use the brush as well to try and get as much mud and dirt out from in between all the crevices. And then my son, with his new mini bike, is watching me work, of course. I told him that he didn't have to help, so he didn't volunteer, but he's having fun with his new mini bike. So basically just power wash and cleaning, repeat, rinse, wash, rinse, and repeat. Just trying to get it as clean as possible so when I start tearing the bike apart, the mud doesn't fall onto the garage floor. And that, for the most part, is it. That's how we clean the bike. Okay, now the bike is clean, I'm going to start it up. Now, I forgot to tell you that I just pulled the plug out of the muffler. I always put a plug in the muffler so no water gets down into the exhaust pipe and getting the packing wet. You don't want that to get wet. It will ruin the muffler and you'll have to put new packing in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up and it's going to run for a few minutes, and this is going to allow the water to evaporate in and around the engine so we don't have any water laying there for a long period of time. Once I get it all warmed up, I'm going to take a ride up and down the street a couple of times, again to dry off as much as I can, off the wheels, the tires, the engine, basically just kind of having fun as well. Who wouldn't want to ride their bike on December 26th when there's supposed to be snow on the ground and freezing temps? But this allows the chain to dry. This allows everything to dry off as much as we possibly can without using a blower or an air compressor. So after we do that, we're going to lube the chain. Now the chain, I checked it, it wasn't 100% dry, but for the most part, it was as dry as it was going to get. So I use crystal clear chain lube. It tends to stick very well. It doesn't fling off, and we've been using it now for about a year, and we're happy with it. If you guys have something better, I'm all ears. Chain lube is kind of one of those things where everybody has their favorite, and I'd like to hear what your favorite is. But as I'm doing this, it's kind of a little quirky, but I wanted to show you guys that you can lube your chain on side stand. I usually put it on a aluminum stand and do a great job of getting it all lubed up and basically one continuous spray. But this is doable. It's not the end of the world, but it works perfectly. Gets it all lubed up. Now I will have to clean the street after I wash the bikes. I have to make sure that the front of my house is acceptable for the neighbors that live around me. No mud. Now these bikes weren't that bad, but I do power wash the street and I wash basically all the dirt into the gutter and make sure that everything is all put away. And of course, I don't really have a place to wash my bike, so I have to use the front of the house. So I have to clean up for my wife's sake, make sure everything is all put away. This is the bike clean. It is not 100% clean, but we are going to be tearing these things apart this winter. But I wanted to show you that all the products that we used and the techniques that we use basically gets it all nice and clean. It's not 100% perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I am tearing this bike apart because of this. The dirt that gets caked in between the hoses and the air box. This is why I like to tear them apart every year, because you just can't get these things clean by doing a wash like we just did. I want to get these things really nice so they're ready to go for next season. All right, guys, that wraps it up for today. I have run out of time, and now I've got to put all of my motorcycles back in the garage, nice and neat, out of the way, and save them again for another day. If you like this video, please click the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell so you won't miss our next episode. Our next episode will be cleaning another bike and starting to tear it completely apart and getting it really clean for the next season. And of course, the work is done. My son decides to appear and ride his mini bike. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.